everybody. Welcome to another episode of In My Opinion. My name is John.
My name is Lester.
And today we have a mystery guest.
Mystery guest.
As y'all can see from the black rectangle in the middle of the screen.
I think it'll be white, but...
Oh, okay. Blank rectangle in the middle of the screen.
Yes. It's an anonymous guest. And I mean, for the people who are listening on Spotify, you guys won't see it.
Yeah.
But you guys will hear her voice. But still, nonetheless, the rules apply. Don't identify her in the comments.
Yeah.
Don't try to find out who she is or anything. Just listen to her story. Listen with an open heart, and that's all we ask.
Yeah, and respect her privacy lah.
Respect her privacy, please. Yeah.
Yes, and that being said, please follow us on Instagram at IMO.pod.
IMO.pod.
And join our Telegram chat as well.
Yes, it's been buzzing.
Yes, and it's great because actually, our mystery guest today reached out to us via these channels and actually volunteered to share a story.
Yeah, so she actually reached out to me after a women's rights episode. Was it?
No, actually it was John's girlfriend's episode.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oops.
I figured that should be the correct context also.
Oh, it was the SMU case.
Yeah?
Yes, the SMU
I completely
case.
forgot we did the episode. Okay, yeah, the SMU case episode, and then she had her own stories that she want to share that she will share with us later. And then we decided hey, I think it's an important topic that you want to talk about.
Yes.
So today's episode is gonna be a bit more serious, which is I guess a bit of a step away from the last few weeks. We've been chilling,
Yeah.
So I think today will be a good time to come back down to reality and try to shed light on important issues.
Yeah, and honestly, this is something that we are always open to discuss.
Yeah.
I mean, in our previous episodes, this is a topic that we've always been willing to talk about.
Yeah.
Right, and today we are bringing you the raw story of a real lived experience, just so that you can understand the perspective a little bit better.
Yeah. Before we begin, do you have anything you want to disclaim?
No. Well, no, nothing much. But it can get a little explicit, so please bear with it.
Yes.
And hello everybody, my name is Amanda. I'm 26 years old and I'm a sexual assault survivor. Yeah.
Okay.
But before we go on, right, just to make sure that those people are watching, okay, maybe we could put a little bit of a trigger warning at the start, especially for people who have experienced sexual assault. This is the topic that we'll be discussing today, and I ask that we all try to understand the stories a little bit better, but at the same time, this is also a platform that I encourage you all to reach out to us for if you're willing to share your stories as well.
Yes, and with that very, very heavy disclaimers, why don't we just get started?
Yes.
Where do we start? I think that's the problem when I had the Zoom call with her as well.
Yes.
I remember asking her how do we start this?
Yeah.
Then you just went straight in.
No, I think how about we make it easier for our audience to follow. So Amanda, why don't you tell us about the story? What happened?
Okay. Well, actually, there are two different guys. So should I just go straight right in?
Why not? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go straight in.
Okay, so for the first guy, it happened about 4 years ago when I was in uni, and at that time, let's just call him Guy A.
Guy A.
Yeah. So I knew Guy A because I was friends with another guy friend. Let's call him Guy B. So I was friends with Guy B in uni. And then we hit off quite well. We stay near each other, and then we became drinking buddies. So basically, Guy A is Guy B's poly friend, and so he's Guy B. He hangs out with Guy A, and he hangs out with me. And he's like, wait a minute, I drink with Amanda and I drink with Guy A, and we all live in the same area. Let's just drink together. So he kind of got us together, and then we clicked off very well, and then we became really, really good friends, and we would meet up and drink quite often, about once a week. And then so we really became really, really close friends / best friends during that time. And this went on for about 1.5 years to 2 years. Yeah, so we are really, really good friends, and then we are bros to each other actually. I don't see them as guys, and they kind of don't see me as a girl.
Yeah.
They ask me relationship advice and everything. So we are very bros to each other. And it happened one night. We went for a normal drinking session, and then after our drinking session, they'll usually drop me off home first. Yeah. So sometimes like, after we drink, we'll get a bit hungry. And then I would usually sometimes like I would just invite them upstairs, for like instant noodles. Not in the sexual innuendo way, but like really instant noodles.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like we went upstairs to my place. I cooked for them, and then like we ate, and then we just hang out in my living room, and then we chatted for a bit. Yeah, and then I remember that night my father was not home. He was on a business trip. He was overseas. My mom was upstairs sleeping. Yeah. So I remember like I closed the door upstairs to not bother her. I mean, so that we won't like bother her. So yeah. So basically, like downstairs is all for us, and then like we had our meal, we chatted, and then like they left, and then I was doing the dishes. And when I was halfway like doing the dishes, my doorbell rang and I went to check, and it was Guy A. And then he said like, "Oh, I dropped my office pass, in your living room." And I was like, "Oh shit, your office pass," because he was interning somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, "Oh, that's $50. We should find it." And I was helping him find his office pass in my living room. And then like I think I was like bent over the sofa, and I was like searching in between the cushions and everything. And then the next thing I knew, he pinned me on my sofa, and then like he tried to like kiss me, and then he's like, he said something along the lines of okay, I think I've really blocked out most of like what really happened, but I could tell you roughly like this is what he said. He said something like, "Oh, Amanda, like you're so hot, or you're so sexy, like like I really want to have sex with you," and stuff like that, and I was just like, and I keep saying like, "No." I remember I keep saying like, "No, I don't really want to. I see you as a friend, like, no, I don't really want to." And I try to push him away, but he's like quite big and he's quite strong, and I couldn't budge, and he tried to kiss me, and he did, because I couldn't move anywhere because he was holding me down. Yeah. And then I tried to struggle, and I remember like his hand was like slipping up my skirt, and he was like pulling my panties down. Yeah. Like it was halfway, like my panties were like kind of halfway down and then I was very scared, and I keep saying no. And I remember at that time I didn't want to yell too loudly because I don't want to wake my mom up. Yeah, because I don't want my mom to find me in that kind of position, to see her daughter in that kind of position. Yeah, but I also don't want him to do it, So like I was trying my best to like try to fight him off, but I couldn't. And then my doorbell rang, and it was Guy B. So I think like Guy B was taking a smoke outside downstairs, and then he realized something was wrong, and then he came up. And then like when the doorbell rang, then Guy A let go of me, and then we both stood up, and then like we both like went to the door, and then we both pretended nothing happened. Yeah. And then Guy B, then Guy A told Guy B like, "Oh, I found my phone," and then they went back home. But I think Guy B felt something was wrong. He sensed something was wrong. So after they left, I finished doing the dishes, and then I remember I was sitting on the couch, and I was just like staring into space, and I was just thinking like, what the fuck just happened? And I was like, my first reaction at the time was like, I don't want to like make a big deal out of this. Like I want all of us to stay as friends. They are really like my close bros at the time, my close friends. And I don't want to do anything that would jeopardize this. And yeah, like that was my first reaction. And I was just like, I'll just forget everything that happened. Like just pretend this never happened. Once he apologized to me, like that's it, Yeah. And then after that, like shortly after, Guy B came over, and then he asked me like, "Are you okay? Amanda, are you okay?" And then he talked to me. That I told him like what happened, and he was angry. And then he talked to me for about an hour, and then after that he left. Make sure I was okay, and like and I told him like the same thing what I told you earlier. I just want to forget everything. I just want us to be friends. Like I forgive him and everything. Yeah. So and then he left. And then after that, Guy and Guy B, they went for like this grad trip thing. They went to China for like about 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. So so that's that. And then after that, they came back from China, and I was like, and then I was like, hey guys, like, let's meet up. You need to tell me like all your China adventures and everything. Yeah. So so then like I think at the time I just like Guy A just messaged me, and then he said like like yeah, let's all meet up. Like there's this bar near our house, and then it's like, oh, let's meet up at this bar. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, you know. And then like things between us are like we have a group chat, you know, but things between us are quite casual, you know. So like, you know, sometimes when you make appointments with like very good friends, you know, you just say like this place, this time, meet there, and like everybody will meet there, you know. It's okay, like, you don't have to say anything much. And it was like quite a last minute thing, but I could make it. Yeah. So at the evening, I just went to the bar, and then Guy A came. Then I was like, hey, where's Guy B? And then Guy B, and then Guy A said like, oh, actually Guy B, he made an impromptu family trip to Vietnam.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was super impromptu, you know, like I didn't even know because like usually he'll post on Instagram or something, but I didn't see. And then like because he was on the plane, so he replied like Guy A late. Yeah, so now I was like, yeah, that's fine, you know, let's just like tell me your stories, lor. Yeah. So yeah, we had dinner and then we drank and like everything seems normal, you know, like the incident never happened. Like we were all back to normal. That's what I thought. Yeah. And then after that, after we finished like the tower, then Guy A was like, oh, I have some like we got some souvenirs for you, like back at my house. And I was like, you want to come over and take it? And I was like, yeah, sure, you know. And I didn't think much into it.
Yeah.
Because his house isn't like some I've been to his house like many times, you know, it's somewhere that I'm not I'm not wary of. Right. Yeah, like his house is someplace like there's always somebody in the house. Like a parent or like one of his siblings or like a maid, something like that. You know, it's like a very bustling place. Yeah, it's somewhere that I'm comfortable with. So I just like, okay. And then like we walked back to his house, and then when I went to his house, like it was empty. Surprisingly, only one of his like uncles was there. And then I used the toilet and I made small talk with his uncle. Yeah. And then after that he told me like, oh, like it's in my room. Then I was like, okay. Yeah. Then I just walked into his room. And then once I walked into his room, then the door closed behind me. And then in my head I was like, oh fuck. Yeah. And then like the next thing I know, like he pinned me against his bed. On his bed, and yeah, it was the same thing like the first time, you know, like oh, you're so sexy, I want to have sex with you, and things like that. And I started crying. I keep saying no, and I started crying. And then once I started crying, he stopped, and then he said like, I'm so sorry, and I'm just like, I want to go home. Yeah, and then after that he walked me home. And yeah, then like we hugged one time, and then that's it. Yeah. He didn't reach out to me anymore, and I didn't reach out to him anymore. Then when Guy B came back from Vietnam, we met up, and then like I told him about it, and he was very angry. He was livid. And from what I knew, Guy B told me like he really scolded Guy A about it. But till now, like, yeah, and like, yeah, I'm still, to this day, I'm still friends. I'm still very good friends with Guy B. And Guy A and Guy B are still also very good friends. Yeah, but I told Guy B I don't want to see Guy A anymore. Yeah, I don't want to be, like, I forgive him, but I don't want to come in contact with him anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, okay, I mean, fuck, man.
that was incredibly intense.
I don't know what else to say, man. But I've heard this story before. I mean, because of course the Zoom call
yes.
still doesn't make it any easy to hear. And I remember when I was on a Zoom call, I don't know whether you remember my response, but
Yeah,
my,
you were like, oh fuck. You were
the
like
entire
this.
time I was just like, my hands were in my, like my face was in my hands. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
fuck. All I could think of is just fuck.
Oh,
And there's like really no other response.
thank you. You're
other
such a
than fuck.
dear.
I mean, I don't think so, no. As in, I feel like it doesn't take a particularly good person to be able to understand
Yeah.
how wrong it is.
Yeah, and like I mean, for me, like I was just thinking about how, like, as you were telling this story, that like how difficult it must be
Mm.
to recount this, because like it the negativity that is like left with you must be something that's really like
Yeah.
visceral, very inside.
Yeah. And like he wasn't a romantic partner, he was like a friend.
Yeah.
And he's really one of my closest friends, at that
Yeah.
point of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it felt, and I don't know if you feel this way, but like I feel like for me personally, losing a friend is more painful than like losing a romantic partner, because for a romantic partner, when you like get together with them, you know there's a possibility that y'all
Yeah.
may break up. But for friends, right?
You
don't think that
there's-
way,
Yeah.
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 Oh man. I mean, okay. Should we address what I think some people might be thinking?
Yeah.
Like,
How about you?
yeah.
I'm
think
not some people, because I don't know what you're thinking. But
no. I think there'll be definitely. I'm not saying you guys, but I think there'll be definitely people who will be like, okay, like, and why do you invite your friend up to your house, or why do you go to his house?
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
I don't agree with, but let's just address it for the sake of addressing it.
Well, it isn't the first time, and like,
Yeah.
and if like we are of the same, if we are of the same sex, like, would you think twice?
Yeah, I agree. And I think all this
You might
stems
think
from
your
like
friend
we've talked about this before,
We
but like,
have.
a lot of people have this weird thing that like, oh, first of all,
And-
guys and girls cannot be just friends and cannot be platonic friends.
yeah.
Yeah.
And second of all, does it fucking matter whether or not she did it or anything? Just
I'm-
because
Yeah.
and John has drawn this parallel before when guys ask girls to like let's say to hang out one on one. They don't this is not something that ever crosses their mind. It's not something that typically not saying it never happens, but typically it doesn't happen lah.
Yeah.
And it's very upsetting that that people might think that like, oh, it's her fault, or like victim blaming in that
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, and like this isn't the first time like I've invited them up to my house.
Yeah.
I've knew them for like more than a year. They have been to my house like plenty of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not something that will set off alarm bells in my head. And
Yeah.
like me going to his house, it was also the same thing. Like his house was a place that I considered a safe space.
Yeah.
For me. Yeah, so I think like and I think it's a very bad thing for like people, for like an outsider, to say like, why you never do this instead, why you do this, you should have done this, but and like, yes, I think like it's also because like we humans are Singaporeans, we are very logical people, so
Yeah.
it's normal for us to like say like try to find the solution in a situation.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I mean, you think this way, right? The victim, me, i.e. me, like the victim, she has definitely thought about that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After that thing happened, like probably 100 times, even thousands of times. Like, yeah, and she don't need you to tell her again
Yeah.
that like why you never do this instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah.
I think you're being very rational. for how much you have gone through, I think you're being very
Yeah.
rational. So
Oh, thank you.
like,
Well, it
good
took some
job.
time to.
I mean, it's been a while lah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, okay,
Can
so
you imagine how painful that journey must have been?
Yes, and actually after that incident, I almost lost friend B also, because he is closer to friend A.
Yeah.
So I almost lost him also, and because like, because our friend group was just like two guys and me. It wasn't like, I know it sounds weird, but it isn't like one guy and one girl. So
Yeah.
it could remain as like a platonic thing. Because there's another person to kind of keep in
Yeah.
check.
Yeah.
So but like after like friend A wasn't in our group anymore, like I couldn't hang out as much with friend B one-on-one.
Yeah.
Because like he has a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Was
And
it-
so we'd also like tend to drift away a little bit, but we're still very close. Like he's still one of my bros.
okay. Do you have anything?
Well, I'm still I'm still reeling from the story.
Yeah, that was me when in a Zoom call. Maybe because I have more time to process this.
Yeah.
In a Zoom call, I legit couldn't say anything to her.
This is the first time I've heard this story, just like you. And like honestly, I cannot explain beyond the fact that I'm feeling kind of sour and lousy right now, having
thank
heard that
you.
story. Because firstly, I feel that like it was insanely gracious of you to have forgave him the first time around.
Mhm.
Because I don't know how you could find that in yourself, because it must have been traumatic.
Yeah, it was traumatic, but I think like partially maybe I was also a bit selfish. Like I didn't really want to lose like my friends. You know. Yeah, they
think
were
that's
very important to
selfish.
me.
I wouldn't say that's selfish. I think that's very normal. I think that's what a lot of like sexual assault victims go
yes.
through as well. Because like a lot of I was talking to Nicole like in something private, and she mentioned to us that like there are a lot of sexual assault victims that are like the perpetrators are like friends or
friends
their
or relatives.
romantic partners, people
Definitely.
that are not it's not like strangers that many people think it is lah. So that really just adds on the whole like level of like wrinkle complication to it.
And I think like, you know, when we read about cases like this on the newspaper, like we don't know the victim, and we also don't know like the perpetrator. But you gotta understand that, you know, these my perpetrators, you know, and like all other perpetrators probably, they are also like, there's a reason why like I became friends with him, and there's a reason why like those victims like maybe they chose that person as their romantic partner, you know, because that person also have good qualities of their own. Like they are also like they're probably also good friends, you know, to their friends. They are good brothers. They are good sons, and good relatives, you know, to other people as well. Yeah. So I don't think like we should also like view them as like bad people, you know, because I think most of them, I would like to think that most of them are actually good people, but they're just good people that made a mistake that really harmed another person really seriously.
Yeah, that I'm that is I think it takes a lot for you to say that, like, and I don't know how you're doing it, but man, that's tough. And I mean, if you have not, do you have anything to say?
I mean, it's still. I mean, the thing is, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the whole situation, because, like, it sounds. As much as I know of the existence of scenarios like this, it still sounds super surreal to have to hear, you know, what actually happened, and I still cannot quite understand I do get what you're trying to say about how they might be good people, but they wrong someone in one very particular way. But like at the same time, I'm trying to understand like maybe like a little bit, to try to think a little bit and imagine their kind of thought process of what may have caused them to stumble like that in the first place. Because like it makes no sense to me, you know, and it frustrates me that it makes no sense. And like because it makes no sense, there's no way to solve this, to prevent this.
I feel like main thing is awareness, like to bring awareness about this, and that's why like I wanted to do this podcast with you all, because I feel like even if I hope like even if it's like I change the mind of one person out there, you know, it's making a difference. Like that one person may stop that one person from like possibly like making a rash mistake, or like maybe even like standing up or like be an ally to somebody else.
I think I mean I said this in the Zoom call as well, but I said like I think if there are many people who made mistakes in the past, and I think there are a lot of people who might have like thoughts that are, I guess, a little bit, for lack of a better word, less woke, especially in the past, and we have done things that I'm quite sure are less woke in the past as well.
All of us.
Like I think it's a good step to take by understanding that whatever you did in the past was wrong, and choosing actively to change it. So we're not coming. There are some comments in like last few episodes. I think it was a discrimination episode, saying there's one person who said that, that we were a bit self-righteous. I assure you that we are not coming from a space of self-righteousness, because we understand we're all flawed, and that's fine. We're not scolding anyone. We are just trying to but at the same time, these are problems that are real. And
Yeah.
you guys have just heard like 15, 20 minutes of real story. So we can't deny that it's something that's wrong. And if there's something we can do to make that a little bit better, my proposition to everyone is then like why not? Like why not just make life or the world a little bit better for everyone?
man.
Sorry, mosquito.
There was a mosquito here. Y'all can't see it, but it's behind the white right
There was a mosquito.
Yeah, but okay, Amanda, I actually do have a question for you that I
Yes.
want to ask, because like you mentioned both times, which I think was really like it really stuck out to me, the fact that you said that you forgave him,
Yes.
right? Even though guy A has done this twice. How did you manage to do something like that? Like what was your, how does one come to forgiveness for something like this?
Well, I mean, okay, I think like I was just brought up in a way that that there's no point being angry over something, and it's better to just forgive people and move on. Like from a Buddhist point of view.
Okay.
My mom is Buddhist, so she's a bit like, that kind of spiritual kind of person, and she always say like, sometimes like there's nothing you can do to help it. If you are angry at that person, right, in the end, ultimately you're just like hurting yourself. It's better to just like learn how to forgive the person and I accept and I try to understand that person and try to move on from the situation. Yeah.
Have you ever spoken to your parents about this?
No, actually, I was kind of terrified at first when I reached out to Lester, right?
Yes.
I didn't know if I could like not show my face.
Yeah.
And because I'm not a public person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a regular office lady. A regular office lady, I don't really and then like I was afraid of like showing my face, partly also because like what if my mom is watching this, and like that's really, really scary for me for my mom to like find out that her daughter has been sexually assaulted, because and it's already the past, and I know that she will definitely hurt. She'll definitely be in pain if she hears this. Yeah. And when I told one of my friends about it also, she was like, what if your mom watches this, it's gonna like shatter her. Yeah. So I don't think I'll ever talk to my parents about it, to be honest. But I do but I do share this with my cousins and my sister, and they are very, very supportive of me. Yeah.
Okay. At least you have the support system.
Yes, I do have a very great support system. I'm very blessed to do that.
How long ago was it? Sorry. How long ago was this?
4 years ago.
4 years ago, yeah. 4 years ago.
Man, I mean, that's a long time ago. 4 years ago is a long time ago.
It's decent, not that long.
As in like I think I
would say
it just goes as to
personally,
show like how far. Yeah.
What I'm thinking is like 4 years. It's not a long time for this kind of encounter or trauma.
As in, it's probably to me it's a long time, but I think my point being is that like it still sticks with you despite like it being a quote unquote long time. Like 4 years ago I was like 20. I barely remember anything when I was 20. So like this is rough lah. And I think it's a thing that sexual assault victims have to live through. That people don't see.
Yes.
That like it's the trauma after that.
It's like it feels like a shadow. Like on most days you're fine, you go along your normal life, you go to school, you go to work and everything. But like sometimes it just creeps up to you. Like when you're in the shower or like when you're lying in bed before you sleep.
Yeah.
Like it's just something that really creeps up to you, and like at the oddest moments.
Yeah.
And then you will just relive it again in your head.
Yeah. And actually, why don't we
Let's take a quick camera
break before the next story.
Okay.
And then we'll continue with the story, and we'll be back for more. So see you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
And we are back
We're
from
back.
our camera break, which actually is longer than you all know, but we are back and we're going to move on to...
It's like 5 seconds for them.
Yeah.
That's why we ended off on a very low note. And then the
yes.
first thing you hear is laughing because we spent the last 30 minutes trying to like I guess avoid talking about it. But now we
Yeah.
kind of have to go back down to that mood again.
Well, we did cover a lot of interesting topics though.
We did lah. So
yeah. I mean, why don't we go back into it? You know,
Yes.
yeah, I mean,
Uh,
Amanda, tell us the
Okay, so
next story.
the next story is about another guy, a second guy. This happened about 6 months ago, actually, in December last year, in 2020. Okay, so this guy, I met him on CMB, Coffee Meets
Coffee
Bagel.
Meets Bagel.
Yeah. And we went on like a few dates. He was very nice. And I really do like him a lot. We really clicked on like a lot of levels. Like we do share like similar values, personal values, family values. Our family backgrounds also kind of match, you know, and like he's attracted to me, I'm attracted to him. Yeah. So like we do have something going on. And then like we went to about 3 dates in. Yeah. And like I think it was a third date. Yes. The third date, he invited me for drinks at his house. So he lives alone, and yeah, I went to his house, and then we had some drinks, and we were chatting, you know, and it was very relaxed, and I was also very relaxed at his place. We played some. He taught me to play some games, yeah, and then we started making out, which I didn't mind because I liked him. Yeah, and I was okay with it. But I didn't really want it to progress further because I liked him a lot and I don't want to get into this like too quickly.
Yeah.
And so when we were making out, you know, and I told him like, okay, I don't want to have sex. And he's like, okay, you know, and then we continue making out. But he kind of like got in a bit deeper, you know. I don't really know how to explain it to you guys, but like, yeah, like he would touch me more.
Right.
Yeah, touch me more intimately,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'll be like, I don't really want to, you know. And then he's like, okay, but he still continued doing it.
Oh.
And yeah, and in the end, I was just like, I was also a bit turned on, honestly. And I was like, okay, fine, let's just do it, you know? And then we had sex, which was actually pretty good. Like, yeah. And after that, I was fine. But, and then after that, like, I went back home and then, like, the date ended off on a good note.
Yeah.
And then I went home, but I still feel like, okay, I liked having sex with him.
Yeah.
But I don't really I feel like this is moving too quickly.
Yeah.
And I want to slow down. And I really because I really do like him a lot.
Yeah.
So I really do want to get to know him more first, you know? And the next date that we went to, it was a dinner outside. And then I told him like, hey, I did enjoy us having sex and I had a great time, but like I feel like we're moving too quickly and I'm not comfortable with it. So can we move slowly? Because I really like you a lot and I want to get to know you more. And he said, okay, you know, I understand. And I was like, okay, that's great. You know, I'm glad that you understand me and we reached an understanding.
Yeah.
And during that date, like he didn't progress more than like just kissing, you know, which was fine to me. And he was a total gentleman. Yeah. So I was very happy and I was put at ease. And then the next date, after that, we had some like communication breakdown, communication like misunderstanding, you know, like I thought that we're going out, but then he thought that, you know, I'm coming over and things like that. And yeah, so, and he already had plans with his parents to dinner with his parents. Yeah, so the next time we could meet was like a week later. So I was like, okay, it's okay. I'll just like come over to your place for drinks then instead of having dinner with you. Yep. So I went over to his place to just like hang out and have drinks. And then at first it was fine. Like we were just hanging out at his house and just talking and drinking and chatting. And then after that, like he put a movie on, like we started watching a movie.
Yeah.
And he put a movie on and we were sitting in his living room, I remember. And then it ended up being us making out again. And then sorry.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. And then like at first we were just making out, and then he started to take my hand, and he put my hand on his crotch, and like tried to get me to stroke his dick. And I was like, no, I don't really want to do it, you know, I don't really want to have sex. I thought like, because I don't have sex too quickly.
Yeah.
And then he said like, yeah, I know. And then like we just continue making out, and then like he tried to do it again, and I was just like, no, I really don't want to. And then he unzipped his pants and he put out his penis, and he was like masturbating in front of me, and he was like telling me to like stroke his penis, and I was just like in shock. I was just like, I didn't really know what to do, because I mean, in my mind, right, I was just trying to like think of the best way to resolve this issue and not make a big fuss out of it. Like I was just telling Alessia last time, you know, like I don't know if it's like in my head or something, but I just feel like maybe it's just like exclusive to us Asian girls, but sometimes we feel like, you know, we have a pressure to not make a fuss, you know, of things when things don't go our way. Like we were just taught to like keep our head down, don't make trouble for other people, don't make a fuss, always like keep a good, like always don't bring the atmosphere down.
Yeah.
You know, we all have that kind of pressure, and like at the time I had that kind of pressure on me. Like I like this guy a lot, and and I didn't really know how to resolve this in a very nice way and very lighthearted way, you know. And then I was just in shock, and I really didn't know what to do, you know. And he was masturbating in front of me, and he's like obviously trying to like turn me on in some way, yeah. And then I was also in shock, and I didn't know what to do, and I just, and after a while I just felt like it's probably easier to just have sex with him, and and like not make things difficult, you know. And like we moved to the bedroom, and then like I was like, okay, fine. And like we moved to the bedroom, and then like I had intercourse, I had sex with him. And then after it was done, I just felt like crying. Yeah, I just felt like my soul has been like ripped into half. Yeah, and I just felt like crying. And then like we went to the bathroom to wash up, and then he was in the shower, I remember. And I told him like, you know, just now I keep saying no, I don't really want to have sex with you, and like I really do mean no, you know, like no means no. And he told me you came to a guy's house in the middle of the night and to just have drinks with him. Like, what are you expecting?
Yes.
Fuck, man.
And I was so angry when I heard that. And I said, so you're saying like I was asking for it? And then I marched out of the bathroom. And I think at that point he realized he said something wrong. And then I was getting dressed, and then he came out of the shower, and then like he tried to hug me and like tell me like, oh, I'm sorry, like I won't do that anymore, I won't push you anymore, you know. And then I was like, it's okay, like, okay, fine, like you apologize, you know, let's just forget, like, okay, fine, I forgive you. Yeah, but really like no means no. And then I tried to put it, at the time I didn't really know how to deal with it, and I just decided to like push it aside, and since he apologized, I decided to push it to the back of my head, you know. I decided to be like, yeah, try to be normal. But I just felt a bit off at the time. And then we continued watching the movie. We got dressed, we continued to watch the movie, and then he ordered food and we were eating. And then And then after that, maybe I was just being like more hyper aware of like how he was treating me after that.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, you know, like the way that he touches me after that, and the way that he talks to me after that, I just felt like he was seeing me as a sexual being. He wasn't really like trying to know me as a person. Yeah, like every gesture he made towards me, you know, was sexualized or like admiring my sexuality. You know, it wasn't like, yeah, it wasn't about like who I am inside. Yeah. And I just felt a bit sick in my stomach, and I just said like, oh, I have work tomorrow. I want to go home. You know, then I went home. He got me a Grab, and then like I went home. And then after that, like he didn't message me. I didn't message him ever again. And when I was on the Grab home, I just felt like something really bad has happened to me. You know, like the experience was really something bad has happened to me, and it was not right. Like I know that that's like not consensual sex at all. And I tried to call friend B, that friend of mine, but he didn't answer the phone. But when I got home, he called me back, and then like I told him about the whole thing, and he comforted me over the phone. Yeah. And at the time I also didn't really know how to process everything. I just decided, I knew something bad has happened to me, and I thought like I'm okay. I'm over it. I try to forget it. And I went on with my life as usual. And I went to work. I was continue working, and I continued doing my life and doing my normal stuff. But it's just at the back of my head. Yeah. And it wasn't until like about 2 weeks later from the incident, 2 or 3 weeks later, I was reading like this webtoon. Shout out to Law Olympus. I was reading this webtoon, and it has like a rape scene inside. And when I read that rape scene, and I started crying, like I just suddenly burst into tears, because that was it. Although it isn't like exactly what happened to me, but it was something that happened to me. Like I could really connect with that, and I really just cried, and I cried and cried and cried and cried. And I was just in so much pain at that time. I was like in pain. I was angry. I was feeling so guilty. Like why didn't I say something? Why didn't I fight more at that time? Like why didn't I say something? You know, like like no, I know it's okay. I'm not crying.
No, it's okay. in case you need it.
Like if he had hurt me like that, and he thought like it was okay, like how many other girls have you hurt? Or like how many other girls is he gonna hurt in the future? You know, if he thinks that this sort of like if this is okay, you know? And like I'm not a sexually inexperienced person, you know? I've been in a few relationships, you know, I'm sexually experienced. But what if it's a younger girl, you know, with like less sexual experience than me, or like with a less supportive like friend group than what I have now, you know?
Yeah.
Like not everybody is as lucky as me, and like how is she gonna take this? This is gonna, like, it's already tearing me apart inside. Like I cannot imagine like the kind of pain a younger and more inexperienced girl has to go through. Yeah, like, and I know rationally it's not my fault, but I still can't help but to think that, you know, I will play back that day again and again and again and again in my head all the time, and like trying to find fault in it, like trying to find fault in myself, like why didn't I do this? Why did I do that? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and why didn't why did I say something more? Yeah.
I mean,
Thanks for sharing the story. I apologize if we made you
Yeah, no.
relive that a little bit, but
No,
yeah, I
thank
mean, if you know,
And like I've told Alessia last time in like the Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
About the NUS case. I was telling him about like the SMU case.
Yeah.
I was reading when the news article first came up. I went like it was also on Facebook on Straight Science Facebook, and I read a little bit of the comments.
Yeah.
And some of the comments were like, oh, like yes, like what that guy did was wrong, but the girl was like pushing it. She felt like she saw an opportunity to milk him of his money. She found an opportunity to like sue him for money and stuff like that. And when I read that, I was so angry.
Yeah.
Because okay, I don't know, like I think somebody can fact check me if I'm wrong. I'm not a legal expert, I do not practice law in any way. But to the best of my understanding, my personal understanding, when something like that has happened to you, if you want to pursue it, you first make a police report. Yeah. But when you make a police report, the police will not do anything to investigate because your life is not in danger. If you do want to pursue it, a police report is just like it's just a record, of like this thing happened and this is my POV, of like the report that happened. And then like if you want to pursue it, you need to take time out of your own schedule to go to the courts and get magistrates like complaint or something. Magistrates go to the you need to go to the judge basically, and that judge is like kind of like the magistrate or something. You must get a magistrate's letter or magistrate's complaint. Then the judge will review your case, and then he's the one who say like, okay, the police must investigate this, and you can only do this, like you can only visit the court during like working hours, 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday. So you need to take time out of your own schedule to like go to the courts and like apply for this complaint, and then the police will investigate, and then after that the police will come up with a report, and then you can hire your own lawyer, and then you will go to court, with this. Like this is my understanding of our legal system. Somebody could fact check me on this, but imagine like you are a uni student, an average uni student out there. Would they know like this is the legal procedure to do this? Yeah, like us normal, let's just say like us normal middle class Singaporeans like most of us, we don't have any experience with like the law of like all the courts and anything like that. Like how would we know like where to seek help? And that girl, she felt like it was important enough to pursue it legally. Like imagine telling your own parents about you being like sexually assaulted, like we Asian kids, right? We don't even tell our parents that we have sex, let alone like being sexually assaulted. It's a very large emotional undertaking, for a young girl to go through. And then like in addition to that, like lawyers are not cheap, your family must be of a certain comfortable financial standing to be able to support you, in doing that. Because even though like you may tell your parents about it, your parents may side with you on it, like not all parents like have the financial ability to assist their child or be willing to assist their child with something like this. So you need to be super darn convinced that you have been done an injustice to do that. And and it's just there's a lot more hurdles, than just like I want to sue this guy, then I just sue him to get the money because I see the opportunity in this.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I mean,
this is so heavy.
Honestly, I thought the first story took the cake.
they're both
And-
fucked up in different ways, I guess.
Yeah.
And like I was telling you earlier also, after the Zoom meeting with Alastair, I never really like told somebody like the whole history of my sexual assault experience until I met Alastair and had the Zoom meeting with him for the first time. And then like after I recounted my experiences with the second guy, and I was thinking, wait a minute, like I know that I definitely have been sexually assaulted, but was that rape? You know? And then I went back and I thought about it, and like I discussed it with like a cousin and my sister and like a few friends, and the conclusion was yes, it was rape. It was definitely rape. And I was just like, and it also just hit me out like, oh shit, it was rape, you know? And it took me 5 months to realize that it was rape because it wasn't consensual at all, you know? And I feel like this is the thing that happens to a lot of sexual assault victims. Maybe not all of them, but like, yeah, you don't really register that thing that happened to you until like a while later. And like, okay, I don't mean it in a negative way, but in the media nowadays, right, like rape is actually portrayed as a very violent thing. Yeah. Like we portray it as like something that is like definitely against her will. It's definitely a struggle. There was definitely a struggle that went through. But the thing is that sometimes it may not be a violent thing at all. You know, it may be, sometimes the girl may have a freeze response.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't know like she could fight back. She was just too afraid. Or she was like me, like she was coerced into it, and she felt like it was the best way to resolve like that situation that she was in, and the best way to get out of the situation that she was in, you know.
Yeah.
And she may think that it was consensual, but actually it was not.
I think regardless of what you label it as, it still doesn't take away the fact that it does hurt people.
Yes.
It does cause like trauma.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think for the people who are like worried about like the law or like the how to label certain actions or whatever, I think it's time for us to like kind of take a step back and just realize that someone was hurt in this. It didn't feel good. There's like an understatement of the year that it didn't feel good.
Yeah.
But someone was hurt, and regardless of what we label it, we have to address that someone was hurt.
Yeah.
And the label we can talk about it another day.
Absolutely. And I think you brought up first I want to commend you on your bravery for sharing this story, because I know it must be difficult to share this with two of us. What are we besides being strangers and all that, right? Yeah, but at the same time, also like I like what you brought up earlier about how like as a victim you struggle to label what has happened to you. You struggle to define what has happened to you.
Yeah.
And I think that what you mentioned here is very important, because to potential help seekers or people who are seeking help in that sense, right? Maybe they don't need to define it first before seeking help. They should just seek help and tell the authorities or their lawyer the story and let the relevant authorities define it for them instead. That may be easier, because like I get how big of a shock factor it must be the moment it happens.
Yeah.
So much so that you may not even be able to process it within the month.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that might be like, I'm just thinking for the sake of anyone who may, as unfortunate as it is, I feel that in the world as it is, sexual assault victims are bound to happen.
Yes.
And from anything that I learned from your story would be to, seek the help first before trying to define it even.
Yeah, but like I said, it's very hard.
Yeah.
It's
It
very
is.
hard for you to, as an individual, like when this happened to you, it's very hard for you to process it immediately also.
Yeah.
Because I think for some people like me, like our instinct is to bury it and try to get on with life and try to hide.
Try to move on.
Try to move on, from the hurt.
Yeah.
But it's
hard.
It's hard. It's hard sometimes also. And I don't think I'm a very uninformed person.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty informed also about these things. But still, it took me some time, to realize it. So.
And I think this is a good time to bring in also the public sentiment as well. So for the people who are the Facebook comments and all that, who, as what you mentioned, the people who the guy was wrong, but the girl I say actually also a bit shady, whatever.
Yeah.
When the whole reason, not the whole reason, but part of the reason why we were so against these comments, other than the fact that it's victim blaming, another reason is that someone else is going to see it, and someone else who potentially might need the help will get discouraged to seek the help.
Yes.
Because they know that
people are going to nitpick. People are going to nitpick your actions.
Yeah, exactly. So, man, I don't know what to tell you guys, but I think if someone tells you that, I said before, if someone punches you and if you punch someone and they say it hurts, I don't think your first response should be, but it didn't hurt them.
Yeah, I really like this analogy of yours.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like if you hit, it's just when someone tells you it hurts, you shouldn't be questioning whether it should hurt or not.
Yeah,
it hurts and you should solve it.
Yeah, but of course, you sometimes if a friend tells you that, and then you'll be like, why you never do this instead? I know it comes from a place of concern.
Yes,
it comes. Yeah, sometimes it may come from a place of concern, but the thing is that your concern is hurting that person. So one alternative I could suggest is that you tell the person okay, I'm that what you did at the time was what you felt was best, at that time. What you did, you handled the situation to the best of your ability. But next time, if it happens again, I think it's better that you do XXX.
Yeah, I think that someone commented this before, and I've said I think if it comes from a genuine concern for your loved ones, and I'm sure most of the people, it does come from a genuine place of love and concern, but there is, if anything else, a time and place for it.
Yeah.
Like Pokemon has taught us that when we're playing Pokemon, you can't ride the bike in the middle of the Pokemon Center.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. There's a time and place to do it, and there's a way to do it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's very important. Should we take a camera break before we move
Yeah,
on?
I mean,
okay.
We'll take a camera break to gather our thoughts a little bit.
Then we do our final thoughts.
Yeah, I'm really quite shaken by this story, so you gotta give me a while.
No,
so we'll be right back. Okay, we'll be right back.
BRB, guys.
Okay, we are back from our second camera break because this is a little bit of a longer episode.
Yes.
So thank you, Amanda, for sharing your
thank you for hearing me out.
Story. Yeah, I think this story will, it has definitely left an impression on me. Okay, and it's definitely shaken me a little bit because I feel like it's so crazy, I want to say crazy for the lack of a better word.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
surreal?
Yeah, it's very surreal. I thought story 1 was surreal, story 2 was surrealer. Right? But I do have a question that I want to ask you. What would be then, right, your advice to people who might find themselves unfortunately in a situation like that?
As the victim?
Yes.
It's not your fault. I know that you probably I'm speaking to the victim directly, okay?
Yeah.
I know that you may know that rationally, but I just want to remind you again, it is not your fault. And yeah, your wants and needs should not be placed above someone else's. Yeah. And yeah, and try to find people around you who would be supportive to you and hear you out, hear you rant about it, hear you rant about it, cry about it, and comfort you over it. And that experience, does not define you for who you are. And for me, I've always felt after that thing happened, I felt like I was marked by him, Like I felt like I wasn't a whole person anymore. I felt like I was a kind of like damaged goods. And I just want to let you know that, you know, you are not damaged. And maybe not in a bad way. Yeah, damaged in a good way. And it's going to make you stronger. And it's going to make you a better person. I know it's very, very painful to hear that. And I know that you do not want it to happen to you. But this experience will make you a better person if you can get through it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean...
And I do have something that I want to say to other people out there who are also not sexual assault victims.
Yeah.
I was speaking about this to Esther last time also, and it's easy for you to think that, you know, oh, those people are like bad people, and I'm not like that, you know. I did this thing, you know, I stood up for this girl, I stood up for this person before, you know, I feel like I'm not that kind of person. But let me tell you honestly, like those people who did, those two guys who did those things to me, they are, on paper, they are good guys too. You know, they're upstanding citizens, they are good brothers, they're good sons, they're good friends of other people too. And I also thought that they were people of good character, you know, but they still ended up doing something like that. And I think like we have this conception, like the rapist or the sexual assaulter is that creepy guy who is hiding in the bushes, you know, or that like creepy uncle, you know, and stuff like that. But it's not, you know, that person could be anybody around them. They could be your friends, they could be your brother, they could be your cousin, they could be your classmate, they could be your neighbor, and they can also be you, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were talking about this during the camera break. I think it's important to like, I guess, understand that, you know, maybe even though it might not be as like bad, quote unquote bad, or quote unquote obvious as the stories that you've heard.
Yeah.
There will be times where maybe you have pushed the line a little bit.
Yeah.
Or you have tested the line a little bit or crossed it just a little bit. And I think if you are in a relationship with them, or if let's say you are friends with them now, it'll be good to like, I guess, like check up on them a little bit.
Yes.
Because Nicole has talked about it as well. Like it's important to like constantly check up on your like your loved ones and like your partner, and make sure that like, oh, have I been okay? Like, are you comfortable? Were there any moments where I've crossed the line? And I think it's important to recognize that you might have like, I guess, crossed that line before. Doesn't make you, it's not personal attack on you. It doesn't make you, as what you said, overall bad person.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to understand that, you know, maybe you have faltered, and that's fine. We all have flaws. I've done some fucked up shit in my life, and I think most people have. So like, it's just important for us to like take responsibility for it, like, and like understand that if we have done something wrong, we fix it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope people will be able to let down their guard a little bit when they hear such stories, because I think a lot of people, when they hear such stories, they do have like a little bit of their guard up.
Yeah, and they have this preconceived notion of how it already looks like.
Yeah.
When they may not actually understand how it actually was. Yeah. And I think what you shared with us, Amanda, was very, was a little bit of a reality check for people. Because like what you mentioned, not all rapists or not all sexual offenders look like monsters, you know?
Yeah.
They could be the people around you and you never realize it.
Yes.
And this kind of sexual misdemeanor is something that people can accidentally slip into without fully understanding what they're doing.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, do you have any final thoughts? I think we want to keep this as short as possible. I know this is a very weird IMO episode. Most of the time, you cannot shut us up.
Yeah, you don't hear that many opinions this episode.
But I think let's not have us talk too much in this one. Partially because I have nothing to say.
Yeah, I really find myself close
this
to
is me. This is me copping out right now.
close to a loss of words. But like I guess what needs to be heard here is, you know, Amanda's story, and like I'm grateful that you shared with us, because it really helped me understand a little bit better. Because like a victim's point of view, we always like to think that we're able to empathize with the victim, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, the general public who claims that we can empathize with the victim have not actually fully heard the full story from the victim's point of view.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And having heard that, you understand that empathy is not only the least that we can do, but it's also really quite difficult, because the situation is always not as clear cut or as simple as we imagine it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I would like to appeal to people who are watching, you know, and like who may have friends coming to them with stories like these. This will be a great time for you to just shut up and listen firstly. Yeah. And secondly, like, be a pillar of support, you know, to someone who is going through a really tough time.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to think, you don't have to understand what's going on. You just need to reach out to them with just the pretext that they're having a tough time. You know, because I think these kind of things are unique. Like each scenario is unique to each person, and how each person reacts to them is also unique as well.
Yes.
The best you can do as a supportive friend will be to just be a supportive friend in general, without trying to encroach or fix or steer their decision making.
Yeah.
And I think like for people who suffer this kind of trauma, it'll be something that they'll appreciate more than anything else.
Yeah. And also like we don't really want to, personally from my own point of view, I don't want my assault to define me for who I am.
Yeah.
Like I'm a person also with like my own set of like personalities and everything, but I don't want to be known as like the person who was assaulted, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to meet you every time as a friend and for you to view me with like eyes of pity.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. To think you're fragile.
To think I'm fragile.
Yeah.
I want you to be supportive, but like not too overbearing also.
Okay. I mean, is that all you have to say?
Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. Amanda, do you have anything else that you would
No,
like
I
to
got
add?
nothing much to say. Well, but I think like later on, like after this, right, you may have like additional thoughts, you know. Then you can also put that in, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd be interested in hearing it though.
we do have additional thoughts.
I don't have much, man.
I find myself in the rare occasion of I'm drawing a bit of a blank, frankly, because your story is really quite shocking, and I really think there's not much more to be said beyond that.
And,
people in general have to do better. You know, we have to do better for everyone else.
And like sometimes we will also feel like, oh, like what I experienced isn't that bad. You know, there are some girls who are raped even worse. They went through like under like worse circumstances.
Yeah.
But also like but pain is pain.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter like, you know, what kind of
like what extent
your pain is, but you still feel pain from your experiences, and pain is pain.
Yeah.
And you should definitely like not try to bury it down. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I think I've said what I have to say already. and there's nothing much else for me to say.
Yeah.
I think just, I hope that people will listen to this with an open heart and open mind, and be sensitive in the comments, because we won't mess around. I have very low tolerance for certain things.
That's true.
So I hope people will be sensitive in the comments. I'm not saying if you have a differing opinion or anything, at least say it nicely. I'm not saying you can.
Yeah. And of course, you know, like with any opinions that you share, you know, I always welcome you all to share your opinions, but I also want you all to come here ready to have your minds changed if someone puts up enough of a case.
Yeah.
Right. And that's all we request from y'all.
If we're not asking you to agree with us, because you know, who are we? Or rather, who are the two of us? We're just, as we like to say, assholes on the internet, sharing our opinions. But if you don't agree with us, share it nicely. And I think that's the minimum, like basic human decency.
Yes.
So yeah, and if you do that, we will talk to you and we engage in a conversation with you.
And like, I mean, to any other victims who may have watched this point, right, I highly encourage you to if it helps you and if it's something that you are willing to share, I encourage you all to reach out to us with your stories and if possible to find each other and help each other out, because it's something that, as much as I wish I could do more to help out for, but I was just telling Amanda off camera, I cannot even begin to understand. The best I can do is to empathize, and that I feel personally is not good enough for me. So I want to appeal to any of y'all who resonate with this story, very sadly, but like, to find each other and help each other out. Yeah.
It is good enough, John. It's good enough to have like allies like both of you around.
Yeah.
Male allies, more importantly.
We are trying.
And you both may not realize it, but you both are really making a difference. If in the very least in my life, like both of you made a difference in my life. And like I'm very grateful to both of you for that.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. But man, this is tough.
Yeah.
I don't, as we always say, we don't like to end IMO on a heavy note. But some topics require us to do so. Sorry that most of this podcast is just John and I saying fuck and sighing very, 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 and being resigned. But that's really how we feel right now. He's just fucking resigned. So let's just end it before he gets even more resigned.
but that being said, I am very appreciative of this very serendipitous episode that we're having, because I think this kind of stories need to reach more people. Stories like yours, Amanda, because I think if more people hear these and they understand the reality of the stories, they will not be so quick to jump to their own conclusions about how victims of sexual misdemeanor are supposed to be. And I think that's the main, if there's a win that comes out from an episode like this, it's that.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if this helps even one person, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I hope it has helped you guys. And with that, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Tough one. We'll go back to our regularly scheduled NTU confessions stuff next week.
Yeah.
Or do NTU confession, I don't know.
Or am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole? I feel like
Netflix recommendation.
I need a Am I the asshole episode right now.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah.
Stay safe and see you guys next week.
Stay safe. Subscribe to our Instagram and our Telegram and all the other social things that you see in the box below that we say every episode. So yeah,
see
we
you
love
guys
you all.
next week, guys. Stay safe.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.